Okay, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to the Regional Admission Counselors of California's Virtual College Fair. We are excited that you're here. We have a great group of colleges and presenters lined up for you this evening, and we're excited to share information that will hopefully help with your college search process. So just a few housekeeping announcements from me before we get started. First, your cameras and microphones are turned off, so don't worry, we can't see you or hear you. Hopefully you can see and hear us okay though. If for some reason that changes, just shoot us a message using the Q&A button on your Zoom toolbar, and we'll be happy to help troubleshoot that with you. Speaking of the Q&A button, that is really your best way to engage with our presenters this evening. So as you have questions throughout the session, feel free to submit those using that Q&A button. You can start anytime now, before they present, while they're presenting, or after. We'll all be monitoring those questions throughout the session and are happy to respond as they come in. Don't forget, this is just one of many sessions being offered, so be sure to check the StrideScan website where you signed up for additional sessions you might be interested in, as well as all the session recordings will be available within the next week or so on that same StrideScan website as well. Before I turn it over, I want to show you our schedule for this evening. So we are on the right side in the middle, session B6. So our 6 colleges are Georgia Tech, Texas A&M University, Drexel University, Colorado State University, DePaul University, and the University of Oregon. And so with that, I'll turn it over to Georgia Tech to kick things off.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. My name is Ashley Brookshire, and I am with Georgia Tech. Like my colleagues here, we are reps based out here in California that represent schools far beyond California. And so as we get started learning about Georgia Tech this evening, I really think maybe some basic information would be helpful. We sit right on that mid to large size public university line with about 16,000 undergraduate students. And while we are public, about 40% of our students come from out of state. So it's a pretty sizable population. Having technology in our name, I'm sure you can assume that we have colleges like engineering and computing and sciences, and absolutely we do. Those are some of our largest programs. But we also have intentionally smaller programs in our colleges of business, design, and liberal arts. One thing that unifies you across whatever discipline you choose at Georgia Tech is our motto, progress and service. This idea of being innovative and looking intentionally at the world around you and finding opportunities to make things better, faster, more accessible, but also coupling that with service. You have to have an understanding of the people side of it, how it's going to impact people, and to what degree. So really looking to improve the human condition with both pieces of that motto, progress and service. One of my favorite programs that we have on campus is the Inventure Prize, and I think it really helps to highlight our motto. So the Inventure Prize is an annual undergraduate invention contest that we host. We'll have hundreds of undergraduate inventors submit ideas, and ultimately that gets vetted down to about 6 finalists. So those finalists will present to a panel of judges, but also to a live audience. This year that was a virtual audience, but typically it's both virtual and an actual audience in the auditorium with them. So just as an example, this year's winner is Aya. Aya won the competition in March. She's actually a Jordanian student studying with us at Georgia Tech in industrial design. She was looking really specifically at trying to help improve the conditions of homeless individuals. And so she created a really nice looking coat that's also insulated and waterproof. And you can lay it down and blow it up and it functions as an air mattress. And so it's this really novel, attractive article of clothing that can easily be rolled up and stored, but it's also something that would be attractive to someone who's voluntarily sleeping outside, right? A camper. And so she created this buy one, give one program that she pitched as part of her design of Delta Jacket. And she ended up winning the Inventure Prize this year. So that means she gets 3 things: a check for $20,000 to use towards her idea, a guaranteed free seat in a startup business incubator that we have on campus. And then the last piece is that we are assisting her in filing her patent. So even though we're paying the cost associated with that and our legal team is assisting her, at the end of the day, Aya is going to be the only name on that patent. So again, I think that spirit of innovation and again, really bringing progress and service into your everyday life at Georgia Tech, that's a big part of what we do and what our students enjoy doing. So our students are also looking for ways to get experience in their degrees far beyond just the classroom. These are through a lot of programs that most colleges offer, right? Study abroad, internships, research. I don't think it's novel that Georgia Tech has these available. I think what is novel is the depth and breadth of these opportunities on our campus. So for example, more than half of our students study abroad. And a big reason for that is that regardless of your major, we have study abroad programs that teach coursework in that field. And also as out-of-state students, you'll pay closer to in-state tuition rates when you're studying abroad. So it's really financially accessible as well. About 80% of our students do an internship or a co-op while they're with us, about 40% do research. So at no point are you going to be required to participate in any of these programs, but at the same time, you're going to be really hard pressed to find a Georgia Tech student who isn't engaged in at least one of these, if not more than one, beyond the classroom. Our students are really looking to get that in-depth experience. I also want to highlight our campus just a bit. So we're a very traditional 400-acre campus plopped in Midtown Atlanta. One of the benefits of being founded in the late 1800s is that we were really able to carve out our space before Atlanta existed in any way, shape, or form that it does today. And so we're able to have that footprint, and we really like that we can build community there. All of our dorms, classrooms, research facilities, athletic stadiums, everything's consolidated into this one spot in the city. We call it our tech bubble. But the city is in our backyard, and certainly that serves our students well in terms of business opportunities. Atlanta is one of the top cities in the nation for Fortune 500 company presence. In fact, our campus itself on one end is touching Coca-Cola's international headquarters, and on the other side, we're buffered by Turner Broadcasting, as well as NCR. So really strong business connections in the city. That physical proximity certainly helps students looking to do internships nearby. But Atlanta is also a really fun place to be. In a typical season, right, there's always some kind of concert, show, festival, game, sporting event, something happening around us. And our students go to take advantage of that. They hop out and try new restaurants. We're only about 20 minutes north of Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport, the busiest in the world. So we really enjoy being in the city. But at the end of the day, when you get to come back on campus and you lose that hustle and bustle sense of the city, we really like that aspect of our physical setup as well. And then I wanted to just leave you with a few more ways to connect with us. Certainly you have my contact information here. You can find us on social media. Also, our director has a blog that's posted on our admission website, and it's intended to be a resource, not just for students looking at Georgia Tech, but really anyone looking at the college admission process, specifically if you're looking at applying to schools that are competitive and utilize a holistic review. So hopefully that is a helpful tool for you. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And I believe next up, we've got my colleague from Texas A&M.
All righty, howdy everyone, welcome. I'm so excited you're here. My name is Kimberly Berry and I am the regional advisor for Texas A&M. And I am in Los Angeles, California. So I'm happy to be out here with you guys. A little fun music there. But yeah, a little bit about Texas A&M. So we are a pretty large university in numbers. So this is an aerial view of our campus, pretty khaki, but when you're standing on the ground, it's actually pretty green. But we are the largest school in the nation at the moment, with almost 70,000 students enrolled at Texas A&M. But though we have so many students at Texas A&M, we are also known as the friendliest campus, one of the friendliest campuses in the nation as well. And that's because you have people who love to get together. And once you're able to be on campus, you're able to find your group and your niche that really makes that large campus feel really small, whether that's in a student body organization like this young gentleman here is in his uniform. He's a part of the Corps of Cadets, which is the largest student body organization on campus, or something that deals with your major, or something fun like the Cupcake Club, which we have, or the Crocs Club, where you're wearing fun Crocs and you go have lunch together. It just depends on what interests you, but that tends to make campus seem a lot smaller. Texas A&M, if you haven't seen us on TV, we're known for sports as well, including football. And Aggies love to attend football games, whether we win or run out of time, if we just don't have enough time to beat that other team. But it's also a great time on game day to just enjoy each other and enjoy the Aggie family. So whether that's out at a tailgate like this young lady, there's lots of barbecue going on that day, or, meeting with the Cavalry, which is the organization within the Corps of Cadets that takes care of about 60 horses and rides them in parade style every single home football game. And we also have this young man here. I really love this picture because it says not even about 1,600 miles can keep the 12th man away. And so the 12th man is the fan base of Texas A&M, meaning that we're standing ready as the 12th man, especially at the football game, ready to go in if we're needed. But this also pushes down to all different areas of life, whether that's, I'm ready to stand to help my classmate if they need studying help, to help anybody in the community, really a service kind of mentality for that 12th man wording. But we love football games, and we also love to serve, as I mentioned earlier. And this picture here depicts one of our traditions called the Big Event, where we go and we serve the community of College Station, where Texas A&M is housed. And about 10,000 of our students go out this one Saturday every fall just to give back to the community. So that could be painting a home, cleaning shrubbery in the backyard for an elderly couple, whatever the community needs for us to do, we go out and we spend that full day doing it. Another one of our traditions at Texas A&M is Bonfire Remembrance, which is one of my favorites because it really showcases how Texas A&M, though we're large, we really do value that one Aggie. And so we used to build a large bonfire each time we played our rival school, the one that's located in Austin, begins with a U, ends with a T. We used to build a bonfire each game, each time we played against them in the fall to kind of get riled up and ready for the game. But one year in the 1990s, that bonfire did collapse, and we lost 12 Aggies as they were building that bonfire, and it collapsed. We lost 12 Aggies in that event. But each year since, on the anniversary of the bonfire collapse, we come together at the time that it did collapse around 2 o'clock in the morning, just to remember those 12 Aggies that passed away. So again, I love this tradition because even though it's somber, it reminds me that you're not just a number. Texas A&M is also known for research. So if you're wanting to get your hands dirty a little bit with some research while in school, we don't limit you based on your grade rank. So if you're a freshman or a sophomore wanting to get some research under your belt, you can do that. So pursue it. We're a tier 1 research institution. And finally, I love the Aggie ring as another tradition because it showcases what you've done at Texas A&M for the rest of your life. The Aggie network is huge and it's recognized all over the world. So once you do earn that Aggie ring, it opens many doors for you, maybe some fun doors like being able to find a new friend at a concert, or during an interview where another Aggie recognizes you and really wants you to be a part of their team because they know the rigors that you've been through at Texas A&M. So how do we stack up? We have over 130 different undergraduate degrees for you to choose from within these 10 specific colleges, ranging from agriculture to zoology. Whatever interests you, you are able to do that at Texas A&M. We look at you holistically when we're looking at applications. So whether that's we're looking at your academic achievement, have you been getting good grades in school? We're also going to look at non-academic factors such as extracurricular activities, as well as what makes you unique, and your essay is really where this stands out. Have you gone through any specific hardships or unique opportunities? Tell us about that in your essay. We want to know who you are. And then what are the application requirements? So we, of course, need an application. We take the Applied Texas application or the Coalition application. We'll also need SAA, your fee waiver, the SAT or ACT score. And for this year, it's actually being considered optional. And then we'll also need a self-reported academic record, which is in relation to your transcript. Our application will open this summer for juniors, August 1st, and then you'll want to just make sure that you get your application in by December 1st with the required documents by December 15th. And then once you're admitted, you just want to let us know that you're coming by May 1st and then send your final transcript by October 15th. But that's all that I have for you. We are, as I mentioned, I'm a regional advisor in California, but we have regional advisors all over the US. So I'm happy that I'm able to actually be here in the state where you guys are located. This is my contact information. I'll also put it in the chat and let me know if you guys have any questions. Thanks. I'll pass it on to my friends at Drexel.
Hi, thanks so much. Hi, everyone. My name is Cheryl Tevlin. I'm an Associate Director of Undergraduate Admissions at Drexel University, which is located in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I, however, as you probably noticed from everyone else speaking tonight, am not located in Philadelphia. I'm located in California as well. I'm based in the Sacramento area. I've worked for Drexel for over a decade, though, and spent 7 years working on campus before moving to California. So if you ever have questions, I'm happy to answer. I know the university very well. I know people all across the university, too. All right. So So to tell you a little bit about Drexel, we were founded in 1891 by A.J. Drexel, who was a financier and a philanthropist. A lot of people don't know the name Drexel as it relates to the business world, but people are very familiar with his protege, and that was J.P. Morgan. So A.J. was a very important man in business in the turn of the 19th century. And so when he created Drexel, he actually did it with the working man in mind. So many universities at the time were really geared towards the elite, and he wanted the common man in Philadelphia to be able to get an education. We actually have been open to everyone from very early in our history. So men, obviously, but also women, which was not common at the time. Students of color, also not common. So that real dedication to diversity is something that comes from the very beginnings for Drexel. The other thing that was important for A.J. Drexel when he was creating the university was to create a place where students could get an education that wasn't just good, but that was good for something. And that has really impacted everything that we do. We have a strong focus on experiential education. We're a Tier 1 research university, so students are able to really dig into their area of interest, and just know you are going to be able to start taking classes in your major from very early on. So who are we today? We have close to 15,000 undergraduate students, but what you're going to find is that your classroom experiences are not going to be as big as you might anticipate for a school of our size. Our average class size is about 25 students. Median class size, as you can see, is 19. Student to faculty ratio is 11:1. So it is very much going to be a much more personalized experience than you might expect. You're going to be able to engage with your faculty all of the time. You will have most of your classes in a much smaller setting. Maximum of 1 to 2 large lectures, really. The majority of your classes are going to be a lot smaller. If you know what you want to study, you'll start off straight in your major. All of our programs are direct entry, and that includes everything: engineering, nursing, business. Some other very popular areas for us are computer science, media arts and design. We have everything from eSport business to culinary arts to communications and public health, just a lot to offer. So it's over 80 majors in total. And like I mentioned a moment ago, you start taking classes in your major from day one. And that's important because we want you to be able to, first of all, make sure that you like your major. And if not, you can change your mind early. And then also make sure that you're getting experiences in your field early on. That's going to prepare you for our co-op experience. Co-op stands for cooperative education. It's like a more in-depth version of an internship. It's a 6-month break from your classes where you work in your field of interest. We have been doing this program for 102 years. We have at this point over 1,500 different employers that we work with, everything from small startups and nonprofits to really large companies like Google, Tesla, Boeing. We've had students at the Pentagon, the FBI, the CIA, all sorts of interesting experiences where you can test drive your education, make sure it's actually what you want to do. If not, gives you time to change your major. If so, you can help refine and figure out exactly what direction you want to go in your industry. You're also building connections in your field, and you're building a really strong resume. And that creates really strong outcomes for our students. So you can see our students have great success getting jobs, getting into grad school, med school, and law school. They're getting jobs related to what they studied, and they're happy doing it, which is just really incredible. When it comes to location and student life, we're located right in Philadelphia. So you can see behind me in my Zoom background, there are some lovely green spaces in and around campus, but we are in the city. It's about a 25-minute walk to the very center of Philadelphia, but the city comes out all around us. City streets run through campus, but we do have a traditional student experience. Students are required to live on campus their first 2 years, and they get very involved in extracurriculars. We have over 350 clubs and organizations. We're Division I for sports. We have performing arts and Greek life. We also are very involved in community service. That's important to us. It's actually our president's goal to make us the most civically engaged university in the country. One of the ways that you'll engage with the community first is through a class in your first year that's required. It's called Civic Engagement 101. It talks about the issues that communities face, how we can be strong members of our community. There's also a 10-hour community service requirement. So not a big requirement, but we want students to be getting involved. When it comes to the application process, we are on the Common application and the Coalition application. We do full holistic review. So we're looking at everything you submit in order to make a decision. It's not just based on your grades or your scores if you choose to submit them. We are test optional for at least the next 2 years though. For undergraduate programs, scholarships, our honors program, our first year research program, none of them require scores. The only program that is not test optional is our 8-year combined BA, BS, MD program with our med school, because the med school requires the scores. But for all other programs, it's going to be submitting your application, transcripts, 2 letters of recommendation, essay, and activities, so we can get a good idea of who you are and how you'll be a good fit for Drexel and we're a good fit for you. All students are automatically considered for merit-based scholarships. You do not need to apply for those separately. For need-based aid, you do need to submit the CSS profile and the FAFSA. And then here finally is my contact information. Feel free to reach out anytime you have questions. And I'll also drop a link in the chat where you can contact our other reps if you happen to be located in Southern California. You'd be working with my colleagues, Abby or Megan. For now, turn it back over to Tyler. Thanks so much, everyone.
Awesome. Thank you, Cheryl. Okay, next up, we are going to Colorado State University.
All right. Hello, everyone. I'm just going to share my PowerPoint and then we'll get started here. But my name is Justin Smalley, and I am the Northern California admissions representative for Colorado State University, located in Fort Collins, Colorado. And so to start off, here is my just my name and also my email address, justin.smalley@colostate.edu, and then our website. And then we also have a Southern California admissions representative. Her name is Elise Goodman, and there's her contact information for any of you out there that might be from Southern California. Please feel free to reach out to us if you have more interest in Colorado State, even after the presentation today. First off, we'd like to talk a little bit about our location. We are located in a very cool college town called Fort Collins, Colorado, which there's a small map on the bottom here of this slide. And Fort Collins is 1 hour directly north of Denver. Denver will be right in the heart of the rectangular state of Colorado. And so we're located in northern Colorado, about 30 miles south of the Wyoming border. And we're nestled right next to the foothills of the Rocky Mountains, which you'll see in my backdrop. So like the picture behind me is a picture of our student recreation center, and then the foothills of the Rocky Mountains with a beautiful sunset in the background. What's really cool about Fort Collins, it really is, I think, kind of the ideal college town. About 160,000 people, the 4th largest city in Colorado. Not too big, not too small. It'll have all the big city amenities that you might be looking for in Denver, but still maintains that small town flair. Very close to our campus, which is right in the heart of Fort Collins. About a half mile away, you'll go to Old Town Fort Collins, where there's tons of restaurants and coffee shops, just a lot of festivals and cultural events that take place throughout the year that students will just be able to get away from campus, away from their studies, to really enjoy the college town life. And then, of course, outdoor recreation is really a part of life, of student life, of really just the way of life in Colorado in general. So right over the first foothill, 5 miles outside of Fort Collins, there's a huge reservoir lake with boating, standing paddleboard opportunities, also tons of hiking trails, camping spots, and about an hour away is Rocky Mountain National Park, where you can see spectacular wildlife that maybe you've never seen before, elk, moose, wolves, etc. And also, of course, many students will choose Colorado State because they love to ski and snowboard. The closest resorts are about an hour away. The major ski resorts in Colorado are about 2.5 hours away. Our Snow Riders Club is our largest organization, and they do offer transportation opportunities. Might not have cars. All right. Also, Fort Collins, Colorado State is a very bicycle-friendly community. So many students will get around our 500-acre campus on bikes. That's definitely the most common mode of transportation. Colorado State, we are the 2nd largest university in the state of Colorado. Right now, we have about 28,000 students total. As far as, since we are a Research One Carnegie institution, and we're one of the main flagship research universities in the state of Colorado, since we're kind of medium sized, just to give you a little dose of kind of what we are known for, some of our bread and butter programs. We do kind of specialize in the life, animal, and agricultural sciences for the state of Colorado. You might be familiar that our veterinary medicine graduate program is currently ranked 3rd in North America. So because of that, we have strong undergraduate programs in areas like animal science, equine science, zoology, fish conservation, wildlife biology, and then some other programs of that nature. Natural sciences, the STEM disciplines are very strong. 40% of our students will be majoring in a STEM discipline in areas that will include engineering, mathematics, the sciences, like I've mentioned. Our more popular majors right now will be like business, health and exercise science, psychology, communication studies, mechanical engineering, biology. Also, what's really put us on the map in the last 20 years is that we're a very sustainable university. So we've been recognized as having a lot of programs and a lot of class offerings within environmental conservation. We have a very strong College of Natural Resources where we have 9 different majors that take on a different approach to environmental science. We have a mountain campus that is associated with that college where students can do natural field studies during their time on campus. And a lot of our graduates from that college will become park rangers for the U.S. Park Service or conservation biologists for the Division of Wildlife, things like that. Currently, we have 74 majors that students can go into. 1/3 of our incoming students will come in as undecided, and that is A-OK. And we have fantastic academic advisors that will steer students on really the right path for their academic pursuits. Really at Colorado State, we are a hands-on applied learning university. So we want our students to get that research experience, to get that internship experience in whatever program they choose. But also we want our students to be involved outside campus. We have over 500 student organizations. Whether you're interested in the performing arts, Division I athletics, intramural sports, study abroad, we really want our students to take advantage of the endless opportunities at the university, as well as those outdoor recreation opportunities that I mentioned earlier. We are the Colorado State Rams. We have a real live Ram on our campus that comes to a lot of our athletic events. The Ram is named Cam the Ram. So if you want to become a future Ram, you can apply through the common application. We do a holistic review for admissions. We do require an essay and also like one recommendation. We're moderately selective. Like if you have a solid B average coming out of high school, you'll definitely have a good chance of getting into Colorado State. We'll offer scholarships, and we are a part of the West Undergraduate Exchange Program. As far as our graduates, our average starting salary right now for our graduates is about $54,000. And my time is up, and there's more information about our virtual visits. And I will give the rest of my time to Tyler for our next college. Thank you so much. And if you have any questions, let me know.
Awesome. Thank you, Justin. Okay, next up, we're going to DePaul University.
Wonderful. Thanks so much. All right, everybody, thanks for being here with us this evening. My name is Annie Mills. I represent DePaul University, and I'm our regional representative based in San Diego. I work specifically with our students in California, Nevada, Alaska, and Hawaii. To dive right in, DePaul is a private Catholic institution in the heart of Chicago, Illinois. We have an undergraduate population of about 14,500 students. So while we have big school resources, we're located in the 3rd largest city. You know, those aren't small things. We really do go out of our way to make sure your academic experience at DePaul is going to be really personal by design. Our average class size is 22, and 90% of our classes have fewer than 40 students. The students that you learn alongside at DePaul make up a very diverse student body on our campus and really reflect the diversity of our global community. About 40% of our students come to DePaul from out of state, and it's thrilling to me that California leads the way. 44% of our freshmen are students of color, and 35% of our freshmen are first in their family to earn a college degree. And we are a Catholic school, but the DePaul experience really is as Catholic as you make it. We have students from over 40 different faith and non-faith backgrounds on campus. You may know, you may have guessed, we were named for St. Vincent de Paul. He dedicated his life to ending cycles of poverty and social injustice, and we really aim to keep that Vincentian tradition alive. So as a student, we're going to prepare you to think and act with others in mind, really using your higher education as a means to engage cultural, social, religious, and ethical values in service to others. Now, when our students are on campus, they're actually on 2 campuses in the city of Chicago. We have a campus in Lincoln Park, which we call our urban neighborhood campus. It has a traditional feel with a quad, 11 residence halls, a student center, a big library. It's where you'd see, you know, a student rolling out of bed, tossing on a DePaul hoodie, and walking across the quad to class. A 15-minute ride away on public transportation, which you can see goes right next to campus here, is our campus in Chicago's financial district called the Loop campus. Here, students take elevators to class instead of walking across the quad, and you'd be more likely to see a student going to class in a blazer, maybe coming straight from an internship or job shadowing opportunity in the city. Almost all of our students are going to take classes on both campuses, so you'll get the urban neighborhood and urban jungle vibe no matter your degree. Academically, our students do pick from about 300 options. Some of our most popular programs are in our College of Business and then conservatory style programs in theater and music. We have really strong science and health focused degrees, and we have even some accelerated options for students interested in medical related professions that can allow them to skip professional tests like the MCAT to get into a school, a university we partner with med school in the city. And then for California students specifically, the College of Computing and Digital Media is fastest growing and is most popular. The majority of students that we see from California are picking us for film and television, followed closely by animation and game design. So those are really popular programs. We do have honors options at DePaul University-wide, and then specific to business and health science students, and then an accelerated law program as well. If you're undecided or you like a lot of things, don't worry about it. We're double major and minor friendly across schools and colleges, and we embrace change. As long as you're in good academic standing, you can change your major at any point in time. So our students don't just study, right? There's fun stuff to do on campus as well. We have over 400 different clubs and organizations. They cheer on our NCAA Division I Blue Demons. They're involved in political, religious, and academically focused clubs. They might participate in club or intramural sports, or be a little more adventurous and be involved in a program like Free Fall DePaul, our skydiving club. About 10% of our students are in Greek life, so you can join a fraternity or sorority as well. In one afternoon, you can very easily meet with other students to plan fest or on-campus music festival, watch your friends on stage in a music or theater production, and then go sample the local fair with the pizza club. And then because so many of our students do come to Chicago from outside of the state, and they really want those connections in the city, every freshman is required to take a seminar in their first quarter called the Chicago Quarter Class. You'll go on site visits to explore the city using one of over 100 different topics as a lens. And so you could take a class on the Cubs, or crime and politics in Chicago, improv in the city, or art and public sculpture. In that last class, you go on group excursions to the Art Institute and the Bean, get out of the loop in Lincoln Park a little bit. You see murals in Pilsen. You get to know how the history of that community impacts the experience of its residents and the art they create. And then students in the class actually design a mural of their own as well. It's such a great way to get to know new neighborhoods, learn how to use the L and the buses, which are going to be really helpful, and then get to know resources on campus like our Rating Center, Career Center, and Center for Students with Disabilities. We are really proud of our outcomes at DePaul. 6 months after graduation, 91% of our students are employed or continuing their education. And that is no accident and is due in large part to the fact that our Career Center is incredibly active. And from your freshman year to your senior year, and you have lifetime access to it once you graduate. And then all of our students are required to do experiential learning in their junior year, which looks like an internship, study abroad, intensive community-based service learning project, or research related to your area. So we really get you thinking about what comes next while you are a student. We want you practicing that regularly. If all of this sounds interesting to you, we'd love to have you eventually apply on the Common Application. We utilize a holistic review process. So we'll look at your essay, resume, activity summary, letters of recommendation, certainly in addition to your transcript, what's offered at your high school, and then maybe a test score. We've been test optional for about 10 years for admission, scholarships, and for our honors programs. So here's my contact information, and I will just say I'd love to answer questions in the chat about study abroad, volunteer work, all the other great things that our students do in the city of Chicago. And with that, I'll turn it over to Tyler and my colleague, Grant.
Awesome, thanks so much. Yeah, Grant, you're up.
Awesome, well, thank you everyone for being here tonight, sharing that sentiment with my colleagues. My name is Grant Preheim, and I'm located in the Los Angeles area for the University of Oregon. When it comes to the U of O, we are located in the beautiful town of Eugene. Eugene is about 2 hours south of Portland, the largest city in the state of Oregon, as well as right in the center between both the Cascade Mountains and the Pacific Coast. So there's a lot to explore within Oregon, but our students tend to stay on campus throughout their entire quarter and throughout their entire 4 years because there's so much to do within our little college town. When we say college town, I know it may seem a little bit small, but we have about 379,000 people in our metropolitan area, making us the second largest city in the state of Oregon. When it comes to Eugene itself, it's really well known for its outdoor activities, including 250 miles of hiking and biking trails, and it was ranked the #1 green city in America, which is a common thread throughout our campus as well. When it comes to that campus environment, we have about 19,000 undergraduate students, so you can really get the best of both worlds. If you're seeking that large school atmosphere, we can definitely offer that through our number of academic programs, top tier research opportunities, study abroad options, and NCAA Division I athletics. If you're looking for a little bit of a smaller school environment, we can definitely offer that in that classroom setting, with our median class size just being 20 students. The U of O is part of the Association of American Universities, also known as AAU, making us a top tier 1 research university. And about 75% of our students get involved in research in some capacity, whether they're starting their own research projects or working with our groundbreaking and very well-renowned faculty members. We just opened up our brand new Knight campus, which furthers research opportunities for our students in our $500 million facility. And we also started 3 new academic programs because of this. Those include neuroscience, data science, as well as our bioengineering program, the first engineering program at the U of O. When it comes to academics overall, we have 170 majors, minors, and concentrations for you to choose from. You'll see our top programs on your screen, with our top program being business administration, specifically our sports business concentration. Academics at the U of O have a lot of flexibility, so it really allows our students to come in undecided, still graduate in 4 years, double major, triple major, study abroad. You have that flexibility to do that, and you work with our academic and career advisors to make sure you stay on track and graduate on time. A huge part of our culture at the U of O is that you're so much more than your degree. So one way that we really help our students not only transition to college, but really start to find their community is by having students live on campus. So we do have a first year live-on requirement for all students in our 10 different residence halls, including a brand new one that's opening this fall. And we have 19 different room types, ranging from singles all the way up to 6-person suites and anything and everywhere in between. You can even make residence life feel a little bit smaller by joining one of our academic residential communities or residential communities that have built in not only social support, but peer academic support. Outside of your residence halls, you could also get involved in our 300+ clubs and organizations, ranging from our academic-based clubs and orgs, which offer you the opportunity to meet with CEOs from Fortune 500 companies or other professional development opportunities. You could join one of our identity or affinity-based organizations, or join one of our socially based organizations, including club and intramural sports or sorority and fraternity life. If you want to go on a global scale, about 25% of our student body will study abroad sometime in their 4 years on our 300+ programs that go abroad, and we go to 6 continents. We also offer 2 pre-freshman programs. So it's your opportunity to study abroad in either London or Singapore and earn college credit before you even move into the U of O. If you're interested in becoming a duck, it all starts with that application process. And we have 3 applications that we go through. We have no preference either way between them, but we utilize the common application, the coalition application, and our very own UO application. All of our requirements are the same, and how we review applications is on a holistic basis, ranging in 3 major categories: academics, activities and involvement, and lastly, your personal statement. When it comes to academics, it's important to note that we are completely test optional, so only take a test score and submit it if you think that it makes you a stronger applicant. And we use a weighted GPA on a 4.0 scale, cumulatively from your freshman year through your junior or senior year. When it comes to optional components of our application, you are welcome to submit letters of recommendation. You're also welcome to submit 2 of our additional essays. One is a diversity statement and one is a special circumstances essay. When it comes to the time for you to apply, that's really going to be up to you and what you believe makes you the most competitive applicant. Our application opens on August 1st, leading into your senior year, and you can either choose our early application deadline or our regular decision deadline. We have no preference between the 2. The biggest difference between these 2 deadlines is when you hear back a decision. So if you apply through our early action application, you'll hear back by December 15th, right before that winter break. And if you apply for a regular decision, you'll hear back around April 1, so a little bit later in that senior year. When it comes to the financial component of college, we recognize that it's getting more expensive every single year. And so we do offer need-based aid through our FAFSA, as well as merit-based aid. It's important to know with our merit-based aid that for next year, we will continue to be test-free, meaning that we will not consider test scores at all in our merit-based scholarships. They'll be strictly based off of your weighted GPA or an additional application. We also started something this last year called the Oregon Guarantee, meaning that tuition will not go up or down at your time at the U of O. That tuition number is locked in from your freshman year up to 5 years, or by the time you earn your degree from the University of Oregon. Unfortunately, our campus is still closed for visitors, but we do have a bunch of virtual options for you to get involved with. You could take our campus tour, or you can meet one-on-one with either myself as an admissions counselor or our student ambassadors. So please feel free to utilize us as a resource, especially if you're just starting your college search process. If you do have any questions, I will put my contact information in the chat, but I appreciate you all being here today, and go Ducks.
Awesome. Thanks, Grant. Okay, well, that wraps up our formal presentations for this evening, but we have some extra time here, so we're going to do a little bit of Q&A. Students, if you have any burning questions, now would be a great time to submit those in the Q&A box, and we'll try to get them answered before the end of the session. In the meantime, I'm going to share my screen, and we will start with a question. What advice would you give someone going through the college search process? And we will go in the same order that we started with, so I believe we'll start with Georgia Tech. Is that right?
Yep, absolutely. So I think one piece of advice, and there's lots that you're going to definitely hear and hopefully take to heart, would be don't procrastinate, especially when it comes to those deadlines, right? At Georgia Tech, 2/3 of all of the applications we receive for a single round come in the 72 hours before that deadline. So we literally go from receiving maybe a couple of hundred apps a day to somewhere in the ballpark of 12 to 15,000 apps over those last couple of business days prior to the deadline. And during that time, it's going to be harder to get a quick question answered in our office, right? Whereas if you're applying a week ahead of that deadline, you're going to be able to get a hold of somebody much more quickly. And so it's just an unnecessary stress and anxiety you would be putting on yourself if you're waiting until the deadline. So set your sights a little bit earlier and let that procrastination anxiety be something your friends have to deal with and not you.
I'd have to say I agree with Ashley. My advice would be just to start early. Don't wait until the last minute, especially for Texas A&M, because we're on a rolling admissions process. And so our majors tend to fill up. So if you have a major in mind, definitely don't wait until the deadline.
Great advice. So mine is to really use your resources. You have so many amazing resources out there. We are one of them. Whatever schools you're interested in, don't be afraid to reach out to your admissions counselor. We're in this profession because we like working with students. So use us, right? Also use your school counselors. They're there to help you. If you have a school that you've heard about that you think is a good fit, go to them and say, hey, this school seems like a good fit. Do you know of other similar schools that maybe I haven't even heard of that might be a good fit for me too, so that you can continue to expand your list?
Yes, some advice that I would give is try to know what your college budget is, as far as like what you, your family, or maybe other sources, if you have like a 529 college savings plan, or if you don't have one, if you could start one now, that can help pay for some of that college tuition. Definitely college is an investment for your future, but kind of knowing what your own personal budget is can be critically important. And of course, apply for as many scholarships, financial aid, and also outside scholarships, maybe from or local scholarships that you might learn about through your guidance college career center can definitely help out.
And then I'll hop in. I think one of my pieces of advice that I give every year to students is to take a step back and realize that your application is made of many parts, and it's important to think a little bit about all of them and not overly stress about one of them either, right? So make sure that amongst all of those pieces, every part of you that you feel like is important, your experience, your background, the things that really get you excited every day are represented in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I echo a lot of what my colleagues said. I would say never forget that you're in the driving seat throughout this entire process, and you really are in control throughout from today until you decide to enroll somewhere. So really pursue a college and pursue applications where you can go and pursue all of your passions, and don't feel like you have to pick and choose between what you want to do when you get to college.
Awesome, great advice. Thank you all for sharing. We're going to squeeze in one more question here. So what is your favorite event or tradition on your campus?
At Georgia Tech, my favorite tradition is a person, George P. Burdell. George enrolled with us in the 1920s and graduated with a degree in 1931, except he isn't a real person. A group of students decide to register him for classes, turn in homeworks in his name. So he actually earned a degree without Georgia Tech realizing he wasn't real. But now 100 years later, he's still causing a lot of chaos both on and off campus. So George P. Burdell definitely fits that most coveted tradition for us at Georgia Tech.
I would say, so I mentioned a lot of traditions in my presentation. I did mention that bonfire remembrance was one of my favorites, but one that's on a happier note. One of my favorite traditions, another one of my favorite traditions is Midnight Yell. And so it's kind of like a pep rally that we have for every single home football game. at midnight, the night before the game. And it's just a way for us to have some good camaraderie time. Our yell leaders lead us in yell. So we don't have cheerleaders at Texas A&M. We have 5 yell leaders that wear white. And we just have a good time before the game the next day, just getting rowdy and getting ready to win.
Yeah, for Drexel, one of my favorite traditions is actually when it snows. We are in East Coast City, it does snow. Students will go to the Philadelphia Art Museum, which is not a lot far from campus. It has a huge staircase up the front of it, and they go sledding down the staircase. So that's one of our students' favorite times and things to do when it snows.
Yes, one of the more popular traditions is we have a hike up to a mountain that's just right outside of Fort Collins. The mountain is called Horsetooth Mountain, and there's a rock that juts out and it looks like a horse's tooth. And definitely during their time as students, it's popular to hike up there, and then you can get a nice view of Fort Collins and eastern Colorado and just yeah, of the Great Plains of the U.S. So yeah, really nice view and a great hike.
At DePaul, we're on the quarter system, so our students take finals 3 times throughout the year. That is not my favorite tradition. What goes along with it is my favorite, and that's our finals breakfast that we do at the start of the week. We actually went virtual with those this year. A bunch of people at DePaul submitted their favorite finals and comfort food recipes. We shared that with students, and then we had everyone make your own pancakes kind of at the same time thing. So synchronous sort of, and students could actually put in their request for a pancake artist to make different pictures, designs, things like that, and could watch a live stream of all of that as well. So still tried our best to make it fun, and we're still looking forward to doing that in person this coming year.
I'd say my favorite tradition happens every Friday afternoon outside of our Memorial Union, where our a cappella groups do a riff off in front of one another, including our national champion group called DeVC, which is an all-female a cappella group. And if you recognize the word riff off, that's because DeVC was the a cappella group that sparked the screenplay for the movie Pitch Perfect that we all know and love. So that's one of my favorite traditions about the U of O.
Great, thank you all for sharing. And presenters, thank you for being here. Students, that wraps up our time this evening, so we really appreciate you joining us. When you close the Zoom window, there will be a very quick 4-question survey. If you don't mind completing that, we'd really appreciate any feedback that you have. Don't forget there are more sessions being offered after this, so check that StriveScan website where you signed up for any additional sessions you might be interested in, as well as all the session recordings will be posted within about a week or so as well. So thanks again for joining us. Have a great evening, and we will see you in the next session.